As you may not know, I've been doing YouTube for 8 years now, and I realized that no one knows my villain origin story. So today, we're going to talk about my job before YouTube.
Yeah.
Ooh,
All right.
that's exciting.
Oh, that's fun.
Um,
Swag lore. Swag lore.
I wasn't always a YouTuber, and before I started, I was a poor little uni student. In terms of money, I had no money. I lived in a university dorm, but like after uni finishes, they kick you out. So I moved back in with my parents for 3 months over the summer break. Right, I get home, and my mum's like, "Hey, there's a winery looking for workers. You should apply." I take an interview. They realize I have more than two brain cells to rub together, and I get the job. First day, I show up, and the workforce are just like they're all older guys. They got like their high vis shirts on with like a pie in one hand and a Farmers Unionized coffee in the other. I had just turned 20. I had absolutely zero experience on the job. It basically paid better than an intern, but I could only wish for that much respect. My very first day or night, because I started on night shift.
Night shift represent. Let's go.
Unfortunately, first day I forgot my jumper, but I figured I'll just walk around a little bit. I'll be lugging things around. This will be fine. I'll be warm in no time. So I get to work, and my shift manager says, "All right, mate, come with me." And he takes me to a tank. And he's like, "All right, climb these stairs. We're just going to start filling up this tank with wine. When it's full, just let us know." It was like 40 minutes. Like I was up there, 1 a.m. in the morning, no jumper, on one of the windiest nights of the year. And in hindsight, it was a sign of things to come. And another time I was being taught how to add like one of the magic ingredients to the wine. And I distinctly remember the guy saying, "All right, mate, you just tear the pack here and dump it on in. Oh, now this shit causes 8 different types of cancer, and we should be wearing masks, but she'll be right though."
I was in Champagne like earlier this year, and it's like, oh yes, we take care of the grapes, and then when we did the grapes, we kiss the grapes, and we put the grapes in the bowl, and and it's all. I mean, it's just
If you fall in the vat, you're just gonna become mulch for the wine. It adds the flavor.
This job is like really how the sausage is made, right? Like
This is like the Warhammer version of making wine.
You gotta have that corpse starch added in somehow.
Exactly.
the most common thing you have to do for like cellar work is to clean the inside of the tanks, right? Now, to do this, you use a combination of pumps and hoses, but the secret ingredient is industrial grade acid. Knowing what was actually in this stuff was above my pay grade, but you had to wear gloves, goggles, and an apron to be anywhere near it. And they just said, whatever you do, don't get it on your skin. Sure enough, about 2 weeks into the job, I was cleaning a tank as usual, and I was just breaking down all the hoses and fittings to move them elsewhere. But as I mentioned, these hoses were filled with acid, and when they're being pumped up to 10 meters into the air, there tends to be a lot of pressure at the bottom. When I undid a hose fitting, immediately it like came loose, and the pressure at the top was released at the bottom, and acid came out and immediately hit me in the eyes. Now, I was alone. This winery was huge, and I could barely see. I'm not exactly a man of science, but the one thing they told me about this stuff is that normal water would not help. This happened only 5 meters away from the only eye wash station in the entire winery. That is the only reason I still have vision. So a few weeks later, I guess I didn't learn my lesson. Instead of the fitting just like coming loose a little bit, it came off completely. So I was now covered in this stuff. Like I was submerged from the chest down.
this is near like a Joker level event.
Actually, yeah. It really is one to one.
All channel members will receive access to uncut versions of every video in our Sir Swag Academy series. A contribution of $5 will give you access to the alumni tier. Members of the alumni tier will have their names shown at the end of every video, and also have the ability to submit suggestions for future topics of discussion. If paying money to watch clowns fight verbally over dumb shit is a passion of yours, then you've come to the right place. Subscribe today, and be the fuel to this flaming clown fiesta we call an academy.
So officially at this point, I should have stopped work, went to the emergency shower, and filed out an incident report, right? The guys I work with told me that if someone fucked up, it was like an unwritten law that you'd help cover it up. This place, for whatever reason, attracted some of the most interesting people that I've ever met. So what one guy told me that he, quote, had tried every single drug under the sun, Now, when I went to question him about how he hadn't fallen victim to some form of crippling addiction, he just said, "Oh, it's easy, mate. Just try them all once." Another guy worked in a mine before he landed at this place. And he told me that on his first day of working there, he went to his boss and said, "I've got no equipment. I can't do my job. What do you want me to do?" And his boss just told him to, quote, "look busy." Sure enough, he finds a digger laying around. And for the next 6 hours of his shift, he just starts digging a hole. And then for the next 6 hours of his shift, he filled it in again. He was getting paid $1,000 a day for this.
Oh my God, he's a dwarf. He's actually just a dwarf.
I later asked him what was it like working down the mines, and he said, "Oh yeah, pretty good. I actually knew a guy just like you back then." And I replied, "Oh, what did he do?" He then said, "He got caught in one of the machines and I had to spray him off the wall." The best guy, though, was someone they just told me to assist one day. So I go and find him, and the very first thing he says was, "All right, there's 3 things you got to know about me. I think global warming's a bunch of bullshit. I'm a Holocaust denier. I think Jews rule the world."
Average Kanye West fan.
New album, yeah. Out soon.
Jesus Christ.
Vernier, that was really good.
He's not even wrong, though.
I would later find out that he used to be an accountant, and for reasons he refused to tell me, this was no longer his profession.
I can only imagine.
Around halfway through my time there, we get called into like a drug and alcohol meeting, and they're like, "Please, guys, don't come to work high. Don't come to work drunk. It's very important." Yeah, but what if I have a few beers? Well, as long as you're under 0.05 and you're not operating heavy machinery, you're still allowed to work here. Later that day, I was like on a shift with like an older guy, right? And in about 20 minutes before the end of the shift, he picks up an empty wine bottle and says, "Oh, I think I'll go and exercise my right to 0.05. They actually started doing random drug tests. And in their first batch of 10, 1 person passed.
Was it the Holocaust denier?
He doesn't want to pollute his pure blood with the drugs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I can do you one better. In my Christian college, all but 1 person got caught cheating on the final for the ethics in ministry class.
That's pretty impressive.
Oh, my buddy was the 1 person who didn't cheat. The teacher was just like, "What are you doing here then?"
Guys, you don't understand. The test was whether to cheat or not. You all failed. Now, it's safe to say that the managers didn't think all that highly of me. One time, me and my work partner deprived the whole site of water because we hooked up an exceptionally powerful pump to the mains. Without water, you can't do anything at a winery. So the whole place was more or less shut down for like 3 hours. There were like 50 people just like sitting on their hands going, "Oh man, it's kind of weird. All this water shut off," right? Eventually, the summer break was over, and I handed in my resignation, but it's safe to say I came out a changed man. Basically, after I finished, over the next year, I would just like herb down and make as many YouTube videos as I could. Thankfully, by I think it was like 2018, I was just making enough on YouTube, and I've just never had a real job since. I hope you all had fun laughing at my misery, and I hope fucking none of you ever get to work at a winery anytime soon.
What if it's me looking down on me? The world above must also be. This could go on for